Hello, ladies. Very exciting third show. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Lindley.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Caroline.
Afternoon, all.
Hi. It's great to be back together. So this is our third show. Welcome to anybody that's watching it. This show, this is almost a mask-free show, I think. We haven't got our masks on, but also it's great relief. Because we now have to, don't we? We go everywhere now, I think. Oh, dear. So it's mask-free, but not just mask-free physically, but also the fact that we take off the mask. We're very real, quite raw and relevant. And as we all get more and more settled into this chat show, you're going to get to know us a lot more, and our personalities are going to get more and more comfortable. But this has been quite a nerve-wracking experience for all of us to start this. So anyway, welcome to anybody that's watching it live. We've got Kim is monitoring the chat, which is fantastic. And we do love it when you get involved in the chat because, you know, if we were really a chat show now on a television show, like, you know, if I'm channeling a bit of Loose Women here, we'd be having an audience in front of us and we'd be feeling your vibe. So I'm assuming there is some out there, and it's lovely. I've seen an ever-increasing audience and we're getting beautiful feedback, aren't we, guys? It's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, feedback.
We want people to talk to us and to share their stories too. So feel free if you want.
Yes,
we do. And some of the chat coming at us is, do we have to be blonde? And of course we don't have to be blonde. We can be any colour. We can be bald. We can be male. Very diverse. And we want you all involved. We're quite excited we're going to be releasing an application process soon about being a guest. And we've talked to a few people about that. Now, I think I've just gone. Have I just gone? Can you still see me?
Yeah, no, you're there, Penny.
You're still here.
Wait a minute, the screen's just suddenly changed on me. You can see me, can you?
We can.
Yes, we can see you.
Very weird. Something just jumped away. There's the love of tech. So today I'm very excited. Later on in the programme, I'm going to be chatting to Sam Lindley in our This Is Me bit, which is where we're going to deep dive into each other. And I'm really excited about that. But before that, we're going to share a little bit of sort of a message, something that maybe has been channeling through to us, something that maybe has been slapping us across the face or something, and share something. So Kim, tell about your week, and have you had any messages from the gods this week?
Yeah, so I guess I've had a fascinating week. I've met some amazing people, had some great conversations, but I think one of the things that's come across loud and clear is the need to be kind to ourselves as well as each other. Particularly anybody who's in a leadership position, because, you know, we've just hit the 6-month mark, haven't we, on lockdown?
Yeah.
And for all leaders, they've had to lead themselves. They've had to be part of leading their family, and they've had to be part of leading their people. And that's been tough. We all know how each of us has felt at some point during this lockdown around how we stay motivated, how we push ourselves through that wall. And I think there does have to be that moment of self-care. You can't pour from an empty cup, and I think we have to find a way to reach out to everybody and say, you know, find some self-help, take some time to yourself. It's not selfish to look after yourself because your people need you to be the best version of you. And I think it's becoming such a critical topic, and for us all, I guess. I don't know if that resonates with you.
Yeah, it is. And it's, I mean, something I definitely had to learn in life. But when you're getting that message, is that a message that's coming loud and clear through to you yourself, Kim?
Yes, I guess it's reminded me of times when you've had to deal with real conflict and the pressure that gives you, because you are trying to be there to support your people, to make sure that they are safe and looked after. But you also have to recognise that you are having to lead yourself through that. And there's been moments where I've not been very good at it, I'll be honest. I've continued to want to support and share to other people and provide that support. But when you don't give yourself back, you end up getting too flat, and then you can't be any use to them. And I think, you know, I was chatting this week to some companies about the employee assistance programs. So we've got some amazing employee assistance programs, but they are all predicated on the fact that the person who needs it is going to go and ask for the help. And the challenge that you've got is the person who needs the help often doesn't know how to ask for help. So there's even more responsibility on leaders to be able to identify those early warning signs that something might be amiss, and then go and find how they can hold the hand of that person and take them to the support. Because, I read some worrying statistics that says that 1 in 6.8 people are now suffering from mental health challenges, which is just devastating, and you can see why. But as you know, some of those will also be the leaders, so they will be having those challenges. They'll be feeling that loss, that uncertainty of where to go, and yet they're still trying to give out support to other people. So I think there's just something we've got to do to be able to help more.
Yeah, I think learning to look after yourself, I was really slow to do that. And I think, parents out there listening to this who are trying to manage themselves, it's just something you put yourself at the bottom of the pile. But so I think that's a really good message. I think it's vital that it's the old adage, isn't it? Put oxygen mask on yourself before you can save others.
Yeah.
Sam, I was really intrigued. Obviously, we're going to be talking a little bit about your life and who you are, and this is me. But what have you been noticing this week? What's sort of a big message that's coming through to you this week?
Well, lots has been going. It's been a really busy week. I'm in the office today, so I'm live streaming from Cloud9's HQ in good old Essex this afternoon. It's funny, Kim, actually, because I've just had a coaching session and we've been talking exactly that subject with a leader about, this is so new. Leaders have had to find skills that they've never had to find before to lead their team through this. And I think for me, I've just actually today is the 1 year to the day that I started my sort of elite mastermind program, and I sent them a message earlier just saying how wonderful they are, but also what a journey we've been on in the last 12 months. And it's just been obviously one of up and down, and it just shows what a great community that we have to build, how strong we need other people right now, because there's so many news every day is a new, isn't it? But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think I read a great article that the wonderful Carole actually was featured in on the Metro, which was about, we've just hit that 6-month wall. And I think that's how it's seen now, isn't it? It's seen as a massive great wall that we've now got to climb, and everybody is just feeling flat. So I think this week is I'm all about energy. I get energy from others. And I think it's just about re-energizing all of us now in business. It's a wall, but we can get over it.
Yeah, and I know we were talking earlier in the week about how important it is that people still plan. Don't put everything on ice. That important. You were saying to me how, don't put your life or your business on ice through this. You've got to keep planning and thinking about your strategy.
Absolutely. Yeah, we need to just keep continuing forward. The minute we stop and just accept that's that wall, the wall's too big, is the minute that we're going to shrink. So fight on, everyone. It's fine. We're going to get through this.
Yeah. No, it's good. And I'm glad you mentioned that. Fantastic. I shared that brilliant article you're featured in. I put it off into Facebook and LinkedIn, Caroline. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, that one about the wall. Yeah. And earlier in the week, we were talking about nobody's a finished product and everybody is vulnerable to something that can just knock them sideways. And we were talking about managing our energy and everything like that earlier in the week. And I love the way you're supporting us all and talking to us about that. Do you want to share a bit about that, which is, I think, one of the messages you were getting?
Yeah. Well, last week was a landmark birthday, and it was also a new moon, the Venus moon, and that means we have to be a bit quieter for a while and then regather and then get our energy up. And I think sometimes we push through things and we're not ready for that. So I personally hit a wall of tiredness this week, but I know what to do. So what that is you have to indulge yourself. You have to know what your little pick-me-ups are during the day and relish them. So my office is really set out to be a holistic place to work. I have my candles. I have a diffuser to keep the air changing. I have lovely lights. I have inspirational messages and things around my desk. But you've got to know what gives you support. And as you said, you can't pour from an empty cup. I prefer to pour from a cup that overflows. So if that means incredible amounts of self-indulgence, come to me, because that's what I encourage my clients to do. Because if you're happy, healthy, and I think happy sometimes is an energy force in itself, because I wasn't feeling so energized. I got myself into a happier place. I was able to do my marketing yesterday, write my newsletter, keep focused, because I had all my little treats to back me up. Some days are better than others. That's how it is. But you've got to know what helps me when I'm having a bad day. And that's what I ask my clients. What will really support you right now? What you are, you know? And you need to know, because that's the well that you go to draw your strength on. If you don't know what supports you, then you're kind of going to be running on empty. So find the things, whether it's a lovely coffee or taking time out for a proper lunch or a little walk outside. And there was a study by Leeds University, but in West Australia, that if you watch 30 minutes of cute cats and dogs on YouTube, you lower your blood pressure and stress levels.
Love it.
You know, so just when in doubt, if you're feeling a bit flat and a bit overwhelmed, go on YouTube and look at cute cats and cute dogs. You're going to feel better. It's not stupid to look after yourself. It's not wasted time and energy. It's an essential investment in you and your business to make sure you're running as best as you can. And some days are better than others, but it's knowing what to do on the days when the battery's flat.
Yeah. I remember that first lunch you and I had about 18 months ago. So special. I loved it, in that Italian restaurant. And we were talking about happiness. And it really stayed with me. And I've sort of quoted you and passed that message on to other people about, you said, you know, really notice those moments of happiness as well. And you said to me, you know, I really noticed my first cup of tea is my happy moment, then my coffee. And that has really stayed with me. I love that. It's such a brilliant sort of concept of just noticing all that. And actually, when you notice them the days, it's quite phenomenal how many happy moments there are, aren't there?
Yeah, it's mini mindfulness. So I've got a beautiful pen for my birthday. Taking a mindful moment to love this pen. So when I'm taking notes, it becomes a nice little mini ritual.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So my big message this week, and when I sort of noticed it, it was because I have been asked to speak on a webinar to a company who are called Sheer Edge. They want to try and help people pivot to doing virtual events. They're an event company. They help people put in events, and they want to help people pivot. Jo Faraday's her name. She's super. And, you know, there's so many event people that have put their life on hold, but they're fearing technology and they're not knowing, you know, how do I now change my business? So I did a sort of a keynote at the beginning of this event, where after me, it was more about skills, about how do you put on events. And so the big theme for me was, you know, how do you cope with change and constantly pivot? And I've certainly had to do that a lot in my life. And then yesterday morning, I had yet another shock, knocked me sideways, about a bit of a pivot that Thomas and I've got to do again. So I think there's something about, my son Ross is reading an amazing book called Life in Transition, or Life is in the Transition. He talks about there's every 18 months we have some transitional moment, whether it's economic, financial, love, family, whether it's under our control, not under our control. And I think the reality is I had a belief system that said I didn't like change, and I've had to really change that belief system, because I think I've realized change is the norm now. And so I've got this mantra, and I'm almost building it into my mindfulness of how much I love change. I love change. I get really bored if there's not change. So that's my big message, is start learning to love change. Because if you've got a belief system that tells you don't, you're going to be in trouble, aren't you? It's not a world to say I need things to stay the same. So that's us four talking about our big messages, which is absolutely brilliant. I hope, I'm sure lots of people will resonate with them. Is there anything coming through on chat yet, Kim?
Nothing yet, but hopefully people will join in soon and share what they've been doing, what's been working for them.
Yeah, that's good. And I think it's about sort of, sometimes you have to listen to what is this message. I'm not trying to be too tree huggy, but sometimes we are messages, aren't we? And they're, you know, we can either pass them on or ignore them or do whatever we want with them. So now
I just wanted to say, Penny, last thing. One of the most challenging questions I can ask a client is, what do you want? And it's quite, and unless you know what you want and what you need, then you can't support yourself. So I just put that out to everyone. Ask yourself this: what do I want right now? What would help me? And what do I need? And then you've got some tools to work with. Sorry, just wanted to add that.
Yeah, no, I do like that. I do like that, because actually when you've got that, it's amazing, again, the things you notice that are taking you in that direction. Once you know, but there's a lot of people that have got that out, really designed what they want. But I think it's a good message. So we now wanted, so week 3, we thought we'd deep dive before we have some guests on board, is let's all be a bit open about our own lives. And I'm really excited because this week we're going to talk to Sam about her life and business. Now, Sam is a really experienced and incredibly passionate business coach and delivers all of this love of helping small business through masterminds and also one-to-one coaching, and it's based in Essex. And I first got to know Sam because we worked in a mastermind group together, and do you know what I loved is the way you embrace the concept of mastermind, whether you are one of the the people in it, or whether you're leading it, you really understand it. And that came through so clearly. You're obviously someone that's constantly got that growth mindset. So we've got really close over the last 12 months, all 4 of us, and it's been absolutely fantastic. And I said to Sam, when we all said, let's ask Sam what to do this, she said, oh, my story is that I don't have a story. And I think that's brilliant, because everybody's got a story. But I think sometimes, different stories emerge in our lives at different times. So, Sam, we're going to find your story today, because we all love you and adore you and know your passion. I want to start off with Sam. Tell us a typical day in the life of Sam, from when you wake up and hear one of your children in the morning and through to going to bed. Wow.
Okay. So I always talk to my clients about wearing different hats and how effective we are if we only wear one hat at a time. But I mean, as business owners, whether you're male or female, we know that that's not realistic, right? We're wearing and spinning lots of different hats. But I suppose, from when I wake up, my main hat is a mum to my almost 16-year-old Ted, and my little Finn, who's 8. Very different sort of skill sets to get both of those up and ready for school. One is keener than the other. No prizes for guessing which one that is. And then, generally speaking, I make my way here to the office in Colchester, which is where I'm based. And that's where I do most of the work that I do, which is one-to-one coaching and also mastermind facilitating. So I go and transition in the car from being super mum, she says, to her own wishes, to coach and all things business, which is, I suppose they're both my loves of life.
Yeah, and what really struck me early on when we got to know each other, your own disciplines around your business and how you treat your business. You do walk your talk, which I think is so important, because the way you support your clients isn't academic. It's really what you're implementing all the time, and how you're feeling about business and what you're learning about business, and keeping it really relevant, which is really fantastic. So this is an interesting question I'm going to ask you now, because I'm actually thinking, how would I handle it if somebody asked me? Oh, would you call yourself ambitious?
Oh, yes, I would. I think if I'm honest, I have been ever since I was little. I had so many ambitions, and they were always really high. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't ambitious.
And so when Carole said earlier about knowing what you want, you have quite a clear vision of what you want.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I have ever since I was little. It's funny because now having a 16-year-old who's having to make choices into his future and has absolutely no idea what he wants to do, which is fine. But I find that quite tough, because when I was his age, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to work for Barclays Bank, and that was it. It couldn't be HSBC. It couldn't be Abbey National, as it was at the time. It had to be Barclays. I wanted to wear that blue uniform. I don't know what it was.
Sounds funny to me, that.
It sounds what, sorry?
Pervy.
Who knows? But that was my ambition. It was very, very clear, right? From when I was like 12, I wanted to work for Barclays Bank, and that was my first job. So I'd be lying if I said I wasn't.
And what sort of driven that ambition in life? What drives you, do you think?
I think what drives me is legacy. I think since being a mum, I think that's become my main driver, is a legacy. I want my two boys and my family to, I don't know, to be proud of what mum's building, to recognise what mum's doing and the help that she gives to others. And I want that, that real entrepreneur spirit, but more importantly, that drive for doing something that makes you happy, to be recognised by my two boys.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful. So when you're working with your clients, what's the impact you're really wanting to have on them? What is it? Where are you trying to take them to?
Well, I think it's probably based on my biggest value, which is making a difference. So I was funny because I was talking about motivating earlier with a client, and I was giving him an example of, what really drives and motivates me is the feeling and energy that I have when I'm working with a client on a one-to-one basis, especially, but also in a group environment. But when they leave and when I'm on my own, I am on literally, excuse the pun, guys, but cloud nine, because I have fed all of their energy and I am on fire from the fact that I have had just a little bit of impact in somebody's business. If I've just helped clear a little bit of fog or given them a solution or helped with a challenge, then that's what fires me up. That's what keeps me going. And that's what I want to impact with others.
Yeah, that is so lovely. It's really interesting when you ask people that, because a lot of people don't really know that why and that feeling. Some people will answer, well, because I'm wanting to get my business to be a £2 million business, and they're focused on that. But that's not entering your mind. It's very client focused. What sort of clients love to support?
Well, I always say that I work with the person behind the brand, because for me, it's about the personality. So I don't care what business they're in, what trade they're in, how big the business is as such. It's about the personality, the person. Again, if I get real energy from that person, then I'm in love with supporting them. But it's about somebody, you mentioned having a growth mindset. So I really want to work with somebody that wants to work on themselves and wants me to help them work on themselves, because if we work on them, the business is going to get stronger, the team's going to get stronger, and the money will come. I want to work with real passionate SMEs that want growth, but want it from up here.
Yeah, really nice. So here's my last question, and this is coming in this is a big punchy question, this one. But we're real and raw, aren't we all? So
go on.
None of us feel like the finished product. God forbid, I don't ever want to feel like a finished product.
No.
Do you have any belief systems that you feel you've got to work on, hold you back or anything?
Wow, that is a punch. Yeah, obviously I do. I think humility holds me back a lot. I'm a really humble person. I don't shout about, what I do enough. From a marketing perspective, that definitely does hold me back. I 100% suffer with the imposter and the self-doubt. Every other day, probably one of those creeps into my mind. Am I good enough? And on all those hats that I mentioned earlier, am I a good enough mum? Am I a good enough coach? Are my masterminds really driving themselves forward in the way that I want them to? The legacy that I talk about, that is such a strong pull for me. It can also hold me back, because it's something that I think about all the time. Am I doing enough? Am I doing enough to build that legacy, to be that person that I want to be?
Yeah, but I think that's a great one, because if we actually did say to ourselves, I've done enough, well, we're certainly not entrepreneurs, are we?
No, that's for sure. No, that's right.
So I think you can have that one. I think that's quite a good one. I mean, guys, do you ever feel you've done enough?
Never. You never come to the end, and you should never feel that being ambitious is a bad thing. Some people will make you feel that ambition is somehow some horrible drive that you've got for something that you can never get. No, it's a real energy force. It means a love of life. It means a love of the next thing. So what if you're chasing butterflies? What else are you going to do? Sit down forever? Let's be ambitious. Let's want more. I think it's fantastic.
I think it comes from, for me anyway, I remember going for a promotion when I was in my teens in the bank, and an older lady come up to me very quietly in the staff canteen and said, "Oh, Sam, I know you've gone for that promotion, but do you think you should step aside and let somebody else have it? You've only been here 6 months." And I think that has stayed with me. I mean, that happened about 20 years ago, but that has stayed with me, you know, like, is it mine? Is it really mine?
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. You know that, though. So I would say big clap to I love that. Great. This is me.
This was.
I know. I'm dreading it if we do it to me, so I'm quite happy giving it out. But
It's coming round, Penny. It's coming round.
We've got just under 4 minutes left. God, this show goes so fast. So let's go round. Kim, what's your tips that you'd like to pass to everybody this week?
So my tip is to spend some time every day just congratulating yourself on what you have done. I think we are too quick to focus on what's left to be done, and we need to be able to recharge. So thanking yourself for what you have achieved is a great way of doing that.
Yeah, brilliant. Love that. And Sam?
I think I'm going to go back to the wall. You know, for me, that's a really profound thing that's happening in the mindset this week. You know, that wall is not too big for you. You know, however big it seems, it's not bigger than you.
Yeah, nice. I love that. And Carole,
I would say find your bliss. Well, I would, wouldn't I? That's what I do. Find your bliss, because that will be your motor fuel. You can be really healthy, but if you're not happy, you're not going to like doing what you do each day. If you're happy, that's going to pull you through even the days when you're feeling a bit flat and a bit low energy. So find your bliss and add it into your day. You'll find that gives you the fuel to keep going.
Yeah, nice. I like that.
Nice.
And I think I would finish with, and going back to that theme of when I said about, we've got to all pivot and cope with change. Don't fear asking people for help and getting more knowledge. Particularly we're more and more moving on to the online world. I mean, I think the first shift where we went into lockdown and we all thought, oh, we'll be out by the summer, and then we'll be out by September, and now we're sort of saying we'll be out by Christmas. The reality is all of our businesses have got to start embracing serving clients, communicating online, knowing how to generate our leads online, running events online. People are getting used to this now. But I'll also want to add to that is that I was able to run my first offline event since March, last Friday, where our Mastermind group came together. And, hotels and venues still want business events. You can have up to 15 people. And as Carole has proved to us all, we can still go out and meet and network and have one-to-ones. So don't lock yourself away. We can still have an offline world as well. And so we must make that happen and connect in that way. And I know we're all looking forward to our next lunch that we're going to have together. And I've got to do it myself. I've got to get out there a bit more often and meet clients again offline. So I'd love to say that. So finally, any last words, guys, as we go into our last minute?
I just want to know from Carole, how many restaurants are you up to now?
It's over 40. I'm averaging 5 a week. So Rishi Sunak, you owe me.
I love it. I love it.
I love it. I think you really inspire me. You really are. Get out there, and I'm not surprised you were a bit tired after your big birthday week, but you kept going.
It's still going. Out tomorrow, out Sunday, all next week. Come on.
Good for you.
Thank you.
So thanks for anybody that's watched us live. Thanks for anybody that's watching us back. Thank you for all that are sharing this. Listen, we want you involved, and at the moment, if you would like to be a guest, what's the email address they email, Kim?
So it's hello@businessblondes.tv.
Yeah, and we'll be keeping in touch with you all. And Lots of love, everyone. See you next Thursday, 1 o'clock.